Well, first of all, I believe that Iraq is the China of the Middle East.
Mm-hmm.
It's the China of the Middle East because of the growth that Iraq possesses right now. In 2009, Iraq is going to have a growth rate of 8 to 9% GDP.
They have a country filled with they think, at least 10,000 historic sites from civilization, which could be turned into tourism. So they have a great basis for beginning a country, or continuing a country that will be very viable in the future. Lastly, I think they can be the center of the Middle East in terms of economic center, with all they have going for them. And so I think there will be, it's a very promising place in my opinion.
You see this? This is a currency you probably haven't seen too much of, but over the next 5, 10, 15 years, you will be seeing a lot of it, according to Robert Hoffman. He's the president of Dinar, Inc., the largest wholesaler of Iraqi dinar in the world. Robert, why are we going to see a whole lot more of the Iraqi dinar?
I think it has the potential to be one of the most powerful currencies in the world.
Okay.
And that's based on the resources and the oil reserves that Iraq possesses.
All right.
It's on the bottom of the oil-producing countries in OPEC.
Mm-hmm.
However, it has the third largest resources or oil reserves in the world. Potential revenue versus debt.
Mm-hmm.
And when you have a country that virtually has no debt and starts over and has the support of the world, as Iraq has,
that's where the potential is.
That's where the potential is.
Okay. Now, you have a reputation as being a very savvy international businessman. You make a lot of trips offshore. Somebody told me that sometimes you go to the Middle East twice in a week or even 3 times in a week. What was so compelling about Iraq? How did you get involved?
Right after the war started on March 20th, 2003. That weekend, one of my very, very cherished friends and a man I admire deeply asked to meet with me in Miami Beach. And I'll never forget what he said. He says, Robert, Iraq possesses the most opportunity that you have ever seen in your life.
Why would he say that? What was it about Iraq that was so compelling?
Alan, do you remember a movie called The Mouse That Roared back in the 50s?
I do, yes, with Peter Sellers.
That's correct.
A very funny movie. Okay? Hook it up for me.
It's all based on a country that starts a war with the United States so that, in essence, it can seek aid.
Right, well, get conquered by the United States.
Correct, and the United States would actually rebuild it.
Yes.
First time in world history, we have seen the world come together and rebuild Iraq. Talking about hundreds of billions of dollars have already been spent in the infrastructure of rebuilding Iraq. The world now has an interest in Iraq. Countries that did not want to be part of the war are now part of the rebuilding. Take a look at Japan.
Your friend foresaw this happening, and that's the reason why he said this to you.
That's correct.
Okay. I had a conversation with a gentleman who is a gentleman that you know, and he knows you. His name is David Nash. He's a retired Rear Admiral from the Navy, but he also is the man who was selected by our government, by the government of the United States, to go to Iraq and begin the rebuilding process, along with Mr. Bremer. Just if you would, spend a few minutes telling us about what you found when you went there. Were you inspired, or basically were you shaking your head and saying, I don't know how I'm going to do this?
When I arrived, I was immediately impressed by the fact that this country had been a first world country back many years ago and had been reduced to a third world country.
Were there any vestiges of that in place that you
Oh,
could look
absolutely.
at?
There were major
Such as?
roads, there were major bridges, there had been a communication
This is all
system.
pre-Saddam.
Right, all
Yes.
pre-Saddam. It was still there, but it was in very bad shape. So you knew that things had been done. And I knew that back in the middle 70s that only 40% of the revenues in Iraq came from oil and everything else was from industrial or agriculture. So it was a very developed country that was well led at one time in its recent history.
How far are we off base on what we think about Iraq and the Iraqis?
Well, first of all, I think we fail to remember that there's been a civilization there for 6,000 years and they've coped with all kinds of problems over that period. Secondly, they're a very well-educated group of people. People I worked with were PhDs who really were best at their profession. They have resources, obviously, everybody knows about
Yes.
that. They have a railway that runs from south to north, which is could be the gateway to Europe. They have a country filled with they think, at least 10,000 historic sites from civilization, which could be turned into tourism. So they have a great basis for beginning a country, or continuing a country that will be very viable in the future.
Right now, it's your turn to take part in this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity by purchasing Iraqi Dinar. Call the number you see on your screen or visit the web address shown to purchase as little as $60 worth of dinar or as much as $1 million. Iraq is destined to become the financial center of the Middle East. Consider that Iraq has virtually no national debt, produces 2.5 million barrels of oil every day, and is rich with minerals and agriculture. Plus, tourism in Iraq is in its infancy and will likely become a major industry thanks to the 10,000 historic sites at this cradle of civilization. The dinar has already increased in value 174% since 2004. Don't miss your chance to ride the wave of Iraqi growth. Call Dinar Inc. right now to take part in this incredible opportunity. No matter what's your purchase size, Dinar Inc. will send you the actual dinar currency. You'll get sent the Iraqi cash right to your home. Save it and watch the value increase with Iraq's success. You can check on the progress as often as you like at the special Dinar Inc. website. Dinar Inc. will even give you a 30-day money-back guarantee on your purchase. And listen to this, when you call in the next 10 minutes, we'll also include the television special program Recovery in Iraq, featuring Admiral David Nash's unique perspective on this historic time in Iraq. Call the number on your screen right now, or visit the web address shown. The sooner you call, the sooner you'll lock in the current price. Call right now.